Hello and welcome to this vlog. So this is going to be my second installment of the Trope taste test, where I take tropes that I don't think that I like that much or tropes that I haven't really tried before, and I see if I can like them. So this one's going to be friends to lovers, which is a trope that I traditionally avoid for the most part. And the reason why I wanted to do this one next was because Powerless by Elsie Silver was coming out. And I love Elsie Silver. She's definitely one of my favorite authors. And I feel like if anyone can make me like a trope, it is Elsie Silver. So I picked out one other book to read in this video as well. And that is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. And I was going to pick up a third book, but I talk about that a little bit later on in the video. So yeah, 2 books for this video. I'm filming this after I've already completed the books, so I already know how I felt about those books, but the clips are a little bit jumpy and I feel like I need to go in and like fill in some gaps. So if you see me come back halfway through the video, it's because I'm kind of filling in. So yes, enjoy this video and I'll see you soon. I've actually already started Funny Feelings and I am halfway through, so I'm going to give you an update. So this book follows a female comedian named Farley, and she meets this man who kind of has made a name for himself in comedy, and then he takes some time off because he's a dad and he's a single dad. So she ends up meeting them, and his daughter, is deaf and she knows ASL, and they kind of meet and become friends. And then he really believes in her comedy career and he offers to manage her. And it follows split timelines between when they first meet and where they are now. So where they are now, he's her manager, and they have a really good friendship. She is approached by 2 other female comedians to tour with them and do a comedy special with them. They say to get more publicity that she should fake date somebody that is famous. So they say she should date her manager that she has now because he was a pretty big name in comedy. So they agree to this and it ends up going from there. So like I said, I'm about halfway into it. I think that it's very, very cute. It's definitely a reading rom-com-y, which I kind of figured it would because it's about a comedian. But yeah, so far it's really, really cute. I am liking it a lot so far. I won't lie though, the dual timeline, I'm listening to it on audio and I think that's why, but the dual timeline is throwing me off a little bit and I keep getting confused on if we're in the past or the present. So that's one thing I'm not really loving, but it could be because I'm listening to it on audio. Also, it's an age gap, but it's not bothering me, so I feel like that's something I should say. I didn't know that going in, but she's 25 and he's 35. But if you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't have guessed that it's an age gap. It doesn't read like an age gap. So that's a good thing for me because I don't love age gaps. I like all of Farley's interactions with Meyer's, is that his name, Meyer? Yeah, I think so. His daughter Hazel, because she's deaf, so they do a lot of ASL together. Farley knows ASL. And yeah, I think it has a lot of interesting conversations too around like being a female comedian and the differences that has between men in the industry and females in the industry. And yeah, so far I think it's really cute. I don't think it's gonna be a 5-star at this point just because I'm not obsessed with it, but I am really enjoying it. So I will give you an update when I'm a little bit further on. Okay, so I never fully wrapped up my feelings for Funny Feelings, and now that I've had quite a while to sit on it, I can tell you that I don't remember that much. So definitely not a really memorable book, that's for sure. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. And while I thought it was a pretty good time and it was entertaining, I do still feel, like I said in the first clip, that I would have had a better time if I read this physically because the time jumps were so confusing on the audiobook. So that really took me out of the story. Another thing is I don't really see Myers and Farley's connection. I hope that's their names. It's been so long, I forget. But I don't really feel like they have a connection. Like, I honestly feel like they would have just been better as friends. Like, I don't see why they needed to have a romance. Also, the fake dating aspect of this book, I feel like could have been done in a way better way. I feel like we didn't even see that much of the fake dating. I feel like in typical fake dating books that I've read, there's a lot more like angst and tension built up, and I just didn't feel that in this book, and I have a feeling it's because they're already friends. So yeah. And the last thing that like really did not work with me for this book is I feel like it's really, really hard to do a book about comedians. I've never read one before this, but if you don't find the humor in the book, and this is true for all rom-coms, I guess, if you don't think the humor in the book is funny, it's gonna fall flat and it's going to be distracting and cringy. And Farley's humor in this and mine, like, polar opposites. There's a lot of like diarrhea and like bodily function type of jokes, and like those just don't land for me. So I really did not find her funny for the most part, and that just really didn't work for me. So that's kind of not related to the friends to lovers aspect which we're talking about, but it is another reason why I really did not like this book that much. And yeah, so the friends to lover thing, like no tension, didn't feel their connection. I just don't know. Like this book was just very mediocre. Like I said, there were things I did like about it. I liked her connection with his daughter. I liked that he was a single dad and seeing that. I liked some of her, I didn't like her comedy, but I liked seeing what it would be like to be a comedian, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's definitely some good parts of this book, just it wasn't my favorite. So that is Funny Feelings, 3 stars. Okay, so I started Powerless and I'm 150 pages into it so far. I think I'm gonna start and finish it today because I only have like 2.5 hours left on the audiobook, so I'm gonna try to finish it tonight. But so far I'm actually really enjoying it. I was definitely nervous for this one because it, for one, is friends to lovers, obviously, and 2, I heard it has like a road trip aspect in it. So those are 2 things that I don't really like, but so far it's going really well. I really like Jasper. He is like super protective, which I love, and I'm loving his character. And then the road trip aspect is where I'm getting into now. They're gonna go on like a drive to Violet, which is the Eaton sisters, to bring her something, and I think it will provide some really good forced proximity between the 2. The thing I don't love typically about friends to lovers is that we just get like, sorry, my nails are falling off. The things I don't love typically about friends to lover is that like they already just have all this history, and I feel like there's never really any tension, but I do feel a little bit of tension between Jasper and Sloane, so that's good. And it's Elsie Silver, and she's like the queen of writing sexual tension, so if anyone can do it, it's definitely her. So I'm just intrigued, and I am going to keep reading, and I'll try to update you again, probably when we get a little bit further in. I think I'm close. I don't know where I'm at, but I'll update you again. All right, I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, so I have some clips of me putting on and decorating my Kindle while I was listening to the Powerless audiobook that I'm going to insert now. I got the stickers from Redbubble with the exception of the Magnolia Parks one. That one is from Etsy. Okay, so I got my Kindle for my birthday from my husband, I think like almost 3 years ago now, and ever since I've had the case that he bought it with, and it was like, it matches the color of my Kindles, which is like a dusty pink, and it's a kind of cover that like flips over the top and then you can like fold it back while you're reading, and I like it just fine. I like that it protects the screen, but I wanted a pop socket on my Kindle because I just feel like it's easier to hold, and for some reason it would like hold my hand because I would have to have my thumb underneath my Kindle, if that makes sense, so it would like hurt my thumb after a while. So I wanted a pop socket, and I couldn't put a pop socket on that case because the case flips over to the back, so the pop socket would be covered. So I got a new case, and I just got a clear case from Amazon and then a black pop socket, and then I decided to just decorate it with stickers. So I decided, since I was listening to the Powerless audiobook while I was doing this, that I would insert the footage of me decorating my Kindle in this vlog. So that's what is gonna show up next. So I'll show you what I got for stickers. So from Redbubble, I got this one that says, it's like a Pantone color, and it says Morley Gray, my favorite color. Then this little tarot reader card, which is so cute. And then I got a Good Girl's Guide to Murder and the Crescent City University logo. And then a Miss Willa Collins book club sticker from Bland Nash. And then a Briar U University sticker. And then this one is like my personal favorite. And it says, "We the jury find the villain hot." So I love that one. Then this quote from The Cruel Prince. Come home and shout at me. Come home and fight with me. Come home and break my heart. If you must, just come home. I love that quote. Then we have another sticker that says, "It's all about the wingspan." Very smart. And girls just want to have book funds. So I'm going to figure out which... Oh, and I got one from Etsy. How's the weather parks? So I'm going to figure out which ones I want to put on. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the other ones yet. Okay, so that's as good as it's gonna get. They're just crooked as shit, and I don't care about fixing it. I'm gonna see if I can get some little stickers to fill in the gaps, but that's it for now. But I'm excited to have a pop socket. Hi, I'm filming in front of my bookcase for the first time, so that's really exciting. Powerless update. I finished Powerless. I finished it like 2 days ago, so I've had some time to sit on it. And I seriously read that book in like 3.5 hours, which I think is like a clear sign that I really enjoyed it. So I knew that if anyone was going to make me love Friends to Lovers, it would be Elsie Silver. I just feel like she does romance so well. So Jasper and Sloane have been friends all of their lives, basically. Jasper had a really traumatic childhood, and he became friends with Bo Eaton, who is one of the Eaton brothers, and Beau kind of saw that he had a shitty home life and just said, come to my house. And ever since then, Harvey, which is their dad, raised Jasper as his own. And there's some really like heartwarming moments in this book about that I really, really loved, like Jasper and Harvey's relationship. That's just a side note. But anyways, so Sloane is the Eaton's cousin. So they're not related at all because Jasper's kind of like adopted into the family. But there's some funny jokes made about it. Anyways, so Sloane would go to the ranch and like hang out there a lot. And she's 6 years younger than Jasper. So she always had kind of like a childhood crush. But they always have remained friends. And then once they kind of grew up, Jasper has always had feelings for Sloane, but didn't want to mess up their friendship. And the same with Sloane. She had asked him to prom when she was 18 and he was 24 at the time and a professional hockey player. So he turned her down, obviously. And she kind of got upset with that and never wanted to shoot her shot again. So we start out with Sloane, who is about to marry this awful dude. And they're at her wedding day and she sees this video of her soon-to-be husband that is awful. And so she runs away with Jasper. And then throughout the book, their relationship just kind of grows from being friends to being more than friends. And there's a little bit of like a small road trip aspect in here, which if you know me, I don't like road trips either. So I was nervous about this one. But the road trip doesn't feel really like a road trip. You're not, I don't know, it's very short and it's not like they're not in the car a lot of the time. So it didn't bother me at all. I actually really liked it. I liked how it created some forced proximity between the two. So yeah, the book just kind of goes on from there. They're kind of unpacking their past. Sloane has always kind of just done things to please others and never really does anything for herself. So she's kind of exploring that and coming to terms with being more like standing up for herself more, I guess, and like doing what she actually wants to do. Really could appreciate that. And then one thing that I really, really like about Elsie Silver's books and this book too is that Elsie Silver writes the best sexual tension I've ever seen. And that is one of my biggest like reasons I don't like Friends to Lovers, I think, is because the sexual tension I feel like just isn't there, because because they've had all this time together already that we haven't gotten to see. So either they're like constantly flirting and all that builds up and you don't get to see it, or they don't have that kind of relationship at all and they're just friends. I don't know how to really explain that, but I just feel like the sexual tension is never really there. But Elsie Silver did it and she did it really well. So that was amazing. And then I will say I'm giving this 4 stars, maybe 4.5. I haven't decided yet. It's definitely not a 5-star though. One of the reasons why I really don't like Friends to Lovers, and it happened in this book, is I find it frustrating when two characters have like pined after each other for years and years and they just never done anything about it. I find that to be frustrating and annoying. So that definitely happened in this book. Like, I just feel like I don't know. I just don't like that dynamic very much. And I wish that they would just say how they feel. And it makes sense for Sloane's character why she wouldn't necessarily say those things to Jasper, because she already kind of got shot down by him once. But I just wish that they would tell each other. Like with Enemies to Lovers, you get to see their relationship grow from disliking each other, and then you can watch it slowly unfold and kind of see their development together as like how they like each other. But with Friends to Lovers, you don't really get that. So they already like each other, at least in this case, like they already liked each other. So I feel like it just leaves a little bit to be desired. But like I said, if anyone was going to make me like Friends to Lovers, it would be Elsie Silver, and she definitely did a great job with this one. I think I don't want to compare it too much to the other books in the series because that's not what this video is about, but I would say Heartless is still my favorite, and then Powerless, and then Flawless for sure. But in terms of like smut and steam stuff, I'm pretty sure I would actually like the smut the best than Flawless, and then Heartless, and then Powerless. Powerless is by far the steamiest, but Jasper he's very quiet and kind of reserved, but in the bedroom, he likes to be in charge, like very much so. And so it's a lot of that as the smut, and that's not necessarily my favorite thing. Like there's a scene where he makes her crawl, and like that kind of thing isn't really my favorite. So I would say the smut and spicy scenes in this book weren't my favorite from Elsie Silver, But I feel like they don't really, like, that kind of stuff doesn't really matter to me. That's not why I read romance. So it was kind of just like well, whatever. But yeah, I think overall, this was a really, really solid read. And I definitely like Friends to Lover in this instance. Will just say though, I feel like this would have been a better story if Sloane and Jasper hated each other. Like, if we had the same story, but they just didn't like each other. Like, if Jasper had to go to Sloane's wedding just because she's, like, basically family, and then he, like, overheard her and her fiance fighting, and he broke her out of the wedding that way, and then, like, we had an enemies to lovers situation come out of that, but, like, and then they had to do this road trip together for some reason. I feel like that would have been a story that was more my speed, but like kind of the same story, if you get what I'm saying. So I still, even though I really, really enjoyed this book, feel like Friends to Lovers still doesn't really work for me, if that makes sense. Like, and it's funny because Funny Feelings was just okay for me, and then I like this one, so you would think that I like it, but I still just don't really like it that much. So yeah. Okay, so I've decided to not read a third book for this video because I just can't bring myself to do it. I just don't, I'm not interested in any Friends to Lovers books, and I don't want to force myself to read something I don't want to read and end up in a slump. So I'm going to end the video with 2 books, but I think that will still be fine, and I think the fact that I just really don't want to pick up another book shows that this trope isn't really for me. So as I said, I was going to pick a third book for this vlog, and I had like 3 different ones picked out. I was going to originally read Offside by Avery Keelan, which I think that's the author's last name, and I still actually do want to read that book, even though it is Friends to Lovers, but it's just really, 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 really long, and there's no audiobook for it yet. So I think I'm gonna wait for an audio to be released for that book because it'll just help me get through it a little bit better. I've been really enjoying listening to audiobooks while I read lately. So I want to wait for the audiobook for that one. Then I was going to pick up Midnight Kisses, which is a Friends with Benefits romance. And again, I still really do want to read that. That's actually like a book that I want to read, but there's no audiobook and it is a longer book. So that was out again. And then I decided to pick up Blindsided by Amy Dawes. And I even bought the audiobook because I had every intention of reading this. And it's a sports romance, and I love sports romance, so I thought it was a good idea to mix like a trope I didn't really like with a trope that I did like, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't bring myself to pick it up. I kept being like, okay, I gotta read that next, and then I wouldn't pick it up. So I think that just goes to show that I don't love Friends to Lovers, but I am willing to try it, if that makes sense. Like I said, those 2 other books I still really, really want to read. I probably won't ever read Blindsided. I wish I didn't buy the audiobook. I'm not that interested in it. But those 2 other books I really actually do want to read. So I am willing to give it a try. I'm just hesitant about reading it. And I think it's important for me to not do a rom-com-y Friends to Lovers, because I think that's not gonna work for me because I already don't really like rom-com, and then when you add in a trope that I don't really find any tension with, I don't think that'll work for me. Friends to Lovers I would be willing to try is one that I think is either going to be emotional or one that's going to have another trope I really, really like in it, like sports romance, or by an author that I know I already love, like Powerless. So in conclusion, do I like Friends to Lovers? Not really, but there are some exceptions. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.